Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, maybe even good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Growth Talk with Glenn, where we dive deep into strategies and stories of those who mastered the art of business. Today, I am thrilled to have a fellow business coach, a person that I consider a brother of mine, Tracy Curington, a powerhouse in the quick service restaurant industry and a mastermind behind 180 Turnarounds and TMC Coachings, also known as the king of quick service restaurants. Tracy, welcome to the show, brother.
Glenn, my friend, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for having me on Growth Talk. I'm looking forward to our time together. And my quest is to add value to your listeners and to your program. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Tracy, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? What is that you do? Who do you help? And how do you help?
Okay, I love that. I love the question. Who am I? And Glenn, when I say who am I? Oh, I'm a business owner. I'm a da-da-da-da-da. What I learned, and I loved how you opened up with these are strategies and stories of those behind business and how they succeed. Business owners have to develop their thinking. They have to think differently. And when you come into it, you think one way, and then you get around better people, faster people like yourself, like our mentor, Grant Cardone. You get around guys like John Maxwell or other people. Get in the rooms with these people. They think differently. And I learned to think differently about who I am. So I am a father. I am a husband. I am a son, I'm a brother, right? And I am a friend. Those things can never be taken away from me. What I am cannot be taken away. What I am, it doesn't matter. Even if my mom and dad die, I will still be a son. Mm-hmm. If my siblings die, I'm still a brother. My friends, let's suppose that my friends, they don't like me and they leave me. I don't need them to be my friend for me to be their friend. So I like to say, if I've ever been your friend, Glenn, I will always be your friend.
I love that.
Right? Because I don't rescind friendship. I don't, the whole following on Facebook, I'm going to unfriend somebody. I can't bring myself to do that. Right? I unfriend somebody, then don't understand the first notion about friendship and what it means. So I like to think of who are you? That question. Well, I am a husband. I've been a husband for 27 years. My wife and I are, as soon as I graduated from high school, I met her. I knew her before that. We went to the same school together, met her after that. And 2 years later in 1997, we got married, and then comes all the kids. We got 8 kids, and I'm a father. Whether they, if one of them by chance had to pass away, or they lived in a distant state, or they didn't like me anymore, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to be their father. I'm still going to be their dad. So those are the things that can't be taken away. Now, what I do, I serve people. I mean, ultimately what I do in everything. So if you took the human existence you have, if you did not have your backbone, your central nervous system, you would not be productive. You could not do what you do. So at the very backbone, the core line, everything has to line up with me serving people. Yeah. So people are my business. Now, in what ways do I serve them? So the last 18 years, I've served them as an the senior pastor of a church that I planted in the Midwest. So I've served them. So we've paid off our note. So there's a business side of church too. So we've grown from nothing, just me and my family, and we grew to maxing out the auditorium. We paid off the building. We have no credit debt. We are debt free total. And it's a happy church family. We're now looking to build. So that's one thing that I do is I serve those people as their pastor. Also, I serve my clients in my own practice, my private coaching practice. And that's what I had before coming to get to meet you and Grant. I serve as one of Grant's elite coaches. And I love the partnership that I have with men like John Maxwell, the partnership that I have with Grant Cardone. I think that they're huge, great mentors, but they elevate my status too. So I get to serve that. I also get to serve, as you mentioned, in the quick service industry. When I think of quick service and convenience stores, I think of when the last time you went to a gas station, maybe you picked up a candy bar or a bottle of pop or whatever it was, or just their receipt printer was down. You had to go in and you had to talk to them. Ever wonder who's investing into these people? Like when the last time you went to a menu and they said, welcome to, Whataburger or Burger King or whatever it was, Taco Bell. You're thinking, who is investing into these people? In my opinion, they are the most underserved people in all of American industry. And what's amazing about it is they make up a huge percentage of United States revenue is made by these people that no one's investing into. So I wanted to invest in these people and serve these people. So develop their leaders, build healthy teams, and then repeatable processes to where the night shift and the morning shift can, be on the same page. Anyway, and we can maybe get to that strategy a little bit later on. But basically, what I do, I'm a writer. I've got one book that I've released. It was published back in October of 2023, and I had the privilege of writing that with my daughter. So it's a co-author book, and it's more in the faith circle. It's one that Thomas Nelson and Zondervan Publishing are the largest Christian book distributors in the world. And they took the book on and they put that out. So I was honored to be able to be published through them. And that was really cool because me and my daughter, you don't know really how good it is until you get with somebody who's like, they go good. And then they say, we'll put our stamp of approval on it. And like that felt good to have the stamp of approval, the credibility from that. Anyway, from there, I've got 2 more books in publishing right now. One is set to be released mid-May and the other one's set to be released in midsummer. But so I'm an author. I'm also a speaker. I speak in each year in our public school they'll bring in about 500 people from their faculty and their student body. They'll bring in and I get to speak to them and kind of charge them up, get them equipped for the coming year, the coming school year, getting challenged and so forth. So I'm a speaker. Of course, as a pastor, I speak every week. I'm a trainer. I take a lot of Grant's training, John Maxwell's training, and I put that in my own salad bowl and I serve people like that. So these are all the things that I do that give me joy and so forth. I like to invest. I like to invest I love startups, and especially in the area of food service. That's one of the things that I love too. And we're just now getting into real estate investing. We're just now we haven't invested that first dime yet, but that's where we're going to.
You're learning to make that move, right?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things that we're doing right now, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. Tracy, you have dedicated a significant part of your career to leadership development in the business world, right? Mm-hmm. Can you share a story that you learned your biggest leadership lesson in the restaurant industry?
Okay. In the food service, okay, I'm going to blend this together. So leadership across the board, whether I'm in food service, I'm in pastoral ministry, Christian ministry, if I'm in coaching and developing a team, whatever, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's a John Maxwell quote. I love that definition. So it doesn't matter, there's some people that, well, I'm not a leader. No, you are. When I came into the food service, there was a lot of them that we would have like a group coaching session and I would open up and say, hey, the owner of this business has given his leadership, that's you guys, this special gift of being in this room to where we can grow together as leaders. And Glenn, it was interesting to look around the faces and see these people like, leader, I'm not a leader, I'm a manager. I may be a shift leader, but I mean like leader. And help them to understand they didn't realize they were a leader. If you have influence over a dog, you're a leader. If you have influence over a child, you're their leader. If you have influence over a spouse, you're their leader. You influence in a company. Anywhere you have influence in that area, you are providing leadership. Now, that doesn't mean you're providing great leadership, but you are influencing the outcome, right? I mean, because you're the leader. So I think one of the things that I was taught by my father, who was my leader early on, was, and this is a powerful principle. He said, Tracy, all wrongs need to be righted by you. He was teaching me a leadership principle. And he said, all wrongs need to be righted, but not all wrongs need to be righted by you. That, Glenn, because I was getting myself, I was like, Mr. Fix-It. I was the answer man. I was going around, I can fix everybody's problems. But I had to learn really, really, really quickly in leadership that if it's not my problem to fix,
You don't
I
need.
need to give it to whoever's problem it is and let it go. Right? Not come back, hey, did you take care of that? That kind of thing. So that was the first lesson in leadership that my father taught me as a young man growing in leadership and on the ministry side. But I think it transcends that. I've used it in quick service also, that all wrongs need to be righted, but not all wrongs need to be righted by me. Now, this is what I've done to that. I've added on to that, and I've said, okay, if it is a wrong that I must right, I refuse to create more wrong righting that wrong.
Mm.
So think about the leadership position where some managers come in and make the matter worse. They create more wrong out of trying to they come in and kick the dog, yell at the cat, scream at the kids. You're making it worse. So I just learned all wrongs need to be righted, but not all wrongs need to be righted by me. If it is a wrong that I must right, I will not create more wrong trying to right that wrong.
Mm.
Those two guidelines have helped me stay out of a lot of trouble.
So what makes it worse?
That on to what's that?
Why make it worse when you just gotta come in and fix it instead of making it worse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. So and the thing is, sometimes it's, if I really understand it, this goes in parenting. I mean, you've got kids, I've got kids. So I come home and wait until your dad gets home. And I told my wife, I said, I've been away all day long and I come back. And if you say something like that, they're going to be afraid to see me come home. I want my kids meet me at the door, giving me hugs and stuff like that. I don't want them waiting in the room fearful that their dad's coming home. So I taught that principle to my wife too, to where we've never, ever, that was in year one, in out of 27 years, she's never, ever, ever said, wait until your father gets home. She takes care of the problem herself, because in that moment, it's her wrong to right.
Mm.
That way, when I come home, I don't have. So, imagine if it's if it's your wrong to right, you need to right that wrong, because all wrongs need to be righted. Just don't create more wrong by it. So, like on a shift manager, sometimes a shift leader, what I found was some shift leader that are they're going to change over at 3:00. So it's 2:00. This guy's been really, really mean and everything. They're I'm just going to let it go. And now the person that the nighttime supervisor that comes in gets to inherit that problem.
Mm.
It was your problem to right. You should have righted that wrong before that shift leader came in. But then also, maybe somebody called in, hey, so-and-so called in, and I just want to let you know because it's going to be your shift. And they said that they weren't going to come in. And I told them off. I gave them now you're trying to right a wrong that's not your wrong to right.
Wow.
So that's a leadership principle that I think influences in no matter what industry, your home life, family life, relationships. I think it's a valuable principle.
Wow. With your focus on creating easy to implement strategies for quick service restaurants or any other area that you work, what's that one strategy you think consistently increase revenue and also customer satisfaction?
A raving fan strategy.
A raving fan strategy.
So I'll give you my elevator pitch. Okay, so hey, Glenn, my name is Tracy. And then Glenn says, hey, Tracy, what do you do? Well, thank you, Glenn, for asking. I help quick service restaurants who struggle to increase their revenues. And I do that by creating a raving fan strategy. Mm. Now, Glenn, that raving fan strategy will involve two sides of the counter. It'll involve our side of the counter, where we develop quality leaders, we build healthy teams, and we create repeatable processes. But on the other side, we serve them at such a way. We don't satisfy customers. That's the wrong target, Grant Cardone.
Wow.
We amaze customers. We don't give them, and we don't want customer satisfaction. We want customer amazement. And here's the thing, Glenn, what I know is if you serve somebody, if you only satisfy them, they leave and they got their money's worth.
Yeah.
But if you amaze them, they got more than their money's worth. And as they leave with a remarkable experience, they're going to say to their buddy, they're going to say to their friends, you ought to come with me because this place has got it going on.
Yes.
So that's a raving fan. A raving fan is one, doesn't need a coupon.
Mm.
They don't need to be pumped up, primed up. They don't have to be encouraged. There's no resistance in a raving fan. A raving fan will come to your aid when you're blasted on social media. You never have to defend yourself. A raving fan will defend you
I love
because they
that.
love you, they appreciate you, and they bring others to you. And so where I think that where revenue streams are lacking in the quick service industry and likely in many other industries, especially the hospitality. We have a mutual friend, Aaron Goodwin, and he's in the hospitality space too. And we have some great dialogue around this area of customer amazement and appreciation, because if you mistreat one customer, they don't come back. If you only satisfy another customer, they likely have other people that can satisfy them too. But when you amaze them, they come back and they bring others to it. And what happens when they come back? They bring their money with them.
Yes.
They bring their friends' money with them. And so it's so like you said, easy to implement, simple strategy. Take care of your people on both sides of the counter. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he mentioned that about your people are your greatest competitive advantage. Somebody else had said, maybe it was Jim Collins, he had made mention that somebody had said in one of his books, like, Good to Great or Built to Last, he mentioned that, your people are your greatest asset. I look at like the computer that we're using right now, that's an asset. My cell phone, that's an asset. My people are not an asset. Because they have a soul, their flesh, their blood. They are my competitive advantage. They are the ones that distinguish me from anybody else. Because one is too low of a number for greatness. I got to have a great team. And Glenn, you and I were at the same event in Miami, and Jared, the president of Grants Enterprises, was taking us on a tour. You were there, I was there. We were all kind of taking pictures, and we walked into this room, their marketing room, and it says promote, promote, promote on the back wall. And we were watching Jared as he was on the phone with somebody next to one of his sales people, and he said these words, and I never forget this. And I told Jared about this, how much I appreciated this. He said, dude, quit looking for great people. And I was like, that's so weird. Why in the world? Like, he's going off, like, quit, like, that's so counterproductive. And he said, build great processes instead. He said, good people are easier to find than great people. So stop looking for top talent, look for good talent, and build great processes. When you put good people in a great process, they turn out to be top talent. So the whole reason of on both sides, I want to build a raving fan, and it begins with me. If I've got the wrong attitude, and like, have you ever been to a store and they're like, they're taking care of another customer, welcome in. They're not connected. There's no eye contact.
Yeah. Oh, they don't welcome you at all.
Or they don't even acknowledge you. They don't even you're shopping and you're getting checked out at Walmart or whatever, or a grocery store. They don't even look at you eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah.
They don't even greet you. They just check it out, and that'll be, would you like your receipt? I mean, that is not how you build a raving fan. So it starts on my side of the counter. When we take ownership for that, we're building healthy relationships, and really that's what it's about.
I love that. And it makes me so upset now that knowing what we know, going into a place, I'm ready gratefully to spend money, spend a great time with my family, and they don't even greet you. They don't even welcome you. We close in 10 minutes. That's the first thing they'll tell me.
Glenn, excuse me. So true. So imagine, you got 3 kids, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So a family of 5 coming in. Imagine what a family of 10 looks like coming in. So me, my wife, 8 kids. So, like now my kids are a little bit older. Some of them are married. We have 1 granddaughter. But imagine, so in the days when we just had, we had a 12-passenger van.
Yeah.
That was our family vehicle, right? A 12, because that's all we could, you couldn't take anybody else. I mean, like in a little minivan, it wasn't big enough. So we had to get a 12-passenger van. So we went to Alabama on the ocean on vacation. Got a beautiful house on the beach to vacation in. On a Sunday afternoon, we went to a Pizza Hut. And I was like, hey, kids, let's go to Pizza Hut. Dad's going to treat you to Pizza Hut. I'm like, all right, great. So we park the car. We start coming in. And on the inside, they're like, we got a bus. Because it's just a van of 8 people. So, Glenn, when we're walking in, and all the kids remember this to this day, because sometimes my wife knows I'm a little loose with my mouth when I feel like I've been disrespected at a restaurant when I know the standard. So come walking in, there's two servers and there's like three tables of like two tops. I mean, like six people, six customers in there and two people serving them. We come in with a family of 10 and they're like, and it's please wait to be seated. The guy comes over and it's like, how many on your party? And like, well, we have 10 of us, just my family. And a lady comes back holding a pizza. She's like, oh, that's impossible.
Wow.
To our face. So I said, kids, this is impossible. And like, just it come out so quick, Glenn. And I'm like, wow, Tracy, that was horrible. That was harsh. My daughter says, Dad, that's savage. So I was like, this is impossible. And so we turn around, we walk right back out.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to be served by that quality. We went somewhere else that wanted our business. And that's a lot of businesses today outside of the food service industry. They're losing their customer base just because they got the wrong people on the bus, or they're not training them on the bus. They don't have a system. They don't have a process. They don't understand that instead of looking at the customer as us versus them, we need our customers. Why would we mistreat them? You and I as coaches. Can you imagine what it would like some coaches to mistreat, browbeat, beat up their client?
No.
I can't imagine doing that. I want to honor them. I want to be their biggest fan. I want to be their supporter. I mean, because not only do they have their money, I mean, like they're the reason I'm in the business in the first place.
I agree.
Long answer to your question.
No, but it makes so much sense because that's exactly what we're talking about. A lot of business owners, individuals, entrepreneurs, even the employees, they miss this concept of becoming unforgettable, over deliver, right? Like you said, and create those raving fans. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Reflecting on your partnership with John Maxwell and Grant Cardone, how have these experiences influenced your approach at 180 Turnaround?
Okay. Great question. Thank you, Glenn. John Maxwell, I went to John Maxwell because I wanted to know more about leadership. So my father's principles, Glenn, I love this principle my father taught me on leadership. He said, son, as a leader, you're going to make a lot of choices. My mom and dad were the example of entrepreneurship for me. And you and I both know as an entrepreneur yourself, we take risks. And they're calculated. I mean, even Grant, our mentor, he's risk averse. I mean, like he doesn't want to take risk. He wants to take sure things. I mean, he always quotes Warren Buffett, never lose money, never lose money, never lose. The three rules of money investing, never lose money. And so like you got to calculate, but there's risks involved. And my father taught me, he said, son, never undo in doubt what you did in faith. If you did it believing it was the right thing to do, then when the doubt comes, and it will, don't undo it. So those are the principles I got from my dad, but I needed to understand like leadership, building healthy teams. So I was given organic leadership material. I needed leadership in business. John Maxwell offered that to me the power of team building. You've heard him speak before and just who he is. When he speaks, you feel like he's talking only to you. Yes. He's like a grandfather. I think that's why he shines. Whatever room he's going in, he's going to add so much value because that's just who he is. So from him, I learned the leadership and team building. But then one thing that I felt was I needed more help in. I was never formally trained in sales. Any sales that I got, I always attributed to luck, accident. I was the unconscious competent, Glenn, in sales. Like if I sold something, it's like, wow, how did I do that? I don't know that I could repeat it. I mean, it's just like they just liked me and they said, I'll give you some money and you'll give me some value. But I didn't know anything about sales. And so like one thing that I didn't have from John Maxwell, I didn't have this. He has sales, but I learned from the best in leadership and team building. Why not learn from the best in marketing and sales? The one thing I did not expect to find from Grant was money mindset. I should have known that. I mean, because he doesn't get to where he is without having the right mindset on money. But it's like a bonus, right? So I went to Grant because I needed the sales. And then Glenn, I hear him say, marketing is senior to sales.
Yes.
Oh, crap. I guess I need to know this marketing thing. And then you're never going to be successful in business, in marketing and sales if you don't wrap your head around money. And he says this big, long thing about, like there's money everywhere. Look outside your window. How many cars do you see? Each one of them valued at $30,000. How many homes do you see? Each one of them valued at $250,000. Look at all the people that are out there. Look at all the pockets that are out there. Like we're on no shortage of money. So he goes to this whole long thing. And I'm like, man, I needed that. So the things that I got, I learned from the best. John Maxwell taught me leadership and team building. And Grant Cardone, he's taught me marketing, sales, and money mindset. Taking those things and then channeling it into the quick service base gives me a leg up on a lot of those that would be maybe called my competitors. Because remember if you want to dominate, you have to be willing to do what your competitors, number one, don't know to do or are unwilling to. So it's either lack of awareness or lack of willingness. And if you're willing to do that, you'll dominate. And so a lot in my space, and by the way, there's not very many in the space of helping quick service restaurants and convenience stores. Virtually nobody's doing that. So if you're willing to develop their leadership and build a quality team, that's on their radar, but they don't know how. Marketing and sales, bringing that together, now I'm equipped with what they either don't know to do or they're just not willing to invest in themselves. So those are the two things. That's why, as far as having anybody else that I need, there's no one else I need. And because of those, I've got great friends like you.
Thank you, bro.
Because of John Maxwell, I've got great friends that are in his organization too. And your network is your net worth, right? We get to roll out on a podcast like this because of these two men that have kind of brought us together.
I agree 100%. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to connect with people like you, build a relationship, right? Whether it's business, personal, and I know someday we will turn this into financial. We're gonna be doing collaborations, right? And
yes, sir. I love it.
Helping others become the best version of themselves. Tracy, if you can redesign the quick service restaurant experience from scratch with no limits, what 3 key elements you focus on?
3 key elements that I would focus on if I could, customer honoring processes, people honoring policies, and the last one, I don't know how to put it, but I would put as far as core value implementation. So I'm going to write it down so I don't forget because I want to touch on each one of them. So the processes, the policies, and values. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to start at number 3 with the values. You have values that whether you've diagnosed them, whether you know what they're, I have 5. My values, in all of them are important to me. They wouldn't be core values otherwise. Now we value honesty. We value integrity. We value fun or freedom, all these things. But there's some that are just core to us that it shows up in everything we do. Like right now, I am having outstanding fun with my friend.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. And here's the cool thing is I'm free to do it. When you sent me an invitation, I was free to say yes. I was free to say no. Right? So my 5 core values, my faith, my family, my freedom, my friends, and fun. I put them all in F's to help me to remember it, to alliterate them better. If it's not fun for me, when it stops being fun, I'm done. I'm out. It's no longer fun. Either I'm going to find a way to make it fun, or I've got to move on because it's no longer fun to me. So it's got to be fun. It's got to be freedom for me and freedom for you. So Glenn, I'm going to be embarrassed. And this is I'm going to be contradicting my mentor. Contacts lead to contracts. In my private practice, don't tell anybody, Glenn, but I don't do a contract. Now, I know it's horrible for me. I got to get better at this probably. Somebody's going to get on your podcast and say, never, ever sign up a client without doing a contract. And they're probably right. Here's the thing. A core value for me is freedom. And so I have this speech They said, okay, Tracy, you're going to sign over a contract for me? And I'll say, I can. If that would make you feel secure and safe and so forth, I can. But here's the thing. I like freedom, and I'm betting you like freedom too. Every time I get on a call with you, I want to have earned your money to where at the end of the month, when I send out that invoice, you are smiling when you're writing that check because you know you got more value than what you paid. And I want you to have freedom to say, you know what? It's not working for me anymore. This will be our last meeting. I don't want to rob you of your freedom, and I don't want you and it could be that I need to fire you. I want to be free to do that.
Wow.
So that's my thought on contracts for myself. So because the only reason I can come up with that, Glenn, is because it's part of my values. Now I'm going to move that. There's so much other about my core values. But when you think about a restaurant, most of those people have no idea what their values are. So if I could change anything, I would change, you've got your vision, what you do, you got your mission, why you do it, and then the rules of play are your core values. The rules that govern your life and all you do, how you do anything is your core values. So if you knew that, the core values are commitment, respect, discipline, growth, and trust. Those are your 5 core values. And everybody was playing by them, your performance review would just be easy. Hey, are you sometimes, always, or never committed? Are you sometimes, always, or never respectful? Are you sometimes, always, or never disciplined? Are you sometimes, always, or never growth-minded? I mean, can I trust you sometimes, always, or never? And you'll know if there's a never on there, you're done. There's no reason. So just simplify it. I would simplify it. I mean, a lot of performance reviews are not happening because they're too complex. You got to send this 3-page email out and go through this. And then this. I hate this one. Here, Glenn, I'm going to send you the performance review. Review yourself. I hate that one. I don't like that one at all. Now, maybe other people have an argument on it that I haven't heard. I hate that one. I'm trying to impress my boss.
Yeah.
I want my boss to review me. I don't want to review myself. Tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it, right? Where do I need to grow, and I'll grow. But I don't want to review myself. Anyway, the point is I would change the values. The second thing I would change is policies. So here's the thing, what I believe about policies. The values never change. Those are the principles of your organization. Policies come around because somebody did something bad, and now we have to write a policy about it. So I just got off the call yesterday with a lady who said I had 4 people go on vacation from my staff, and they were in the same family, and it took 25% of my workforce. And she said, I never even thought about it. I said, yeah, go on your vacation. You've earned it. But then they took 4 of my staff with them because they were part of the same family. And I'm like, oh crap. Now I don't. Now she says, so yesterday she had 2 days left in the work week, and she said I'm already at 60 hours. And I said, oh man, we got to get you out of the business to where we can work on it and not in it anymore. She said, well, I wrote a policy up that says from now on, no more than 2 people in a family can go on a vacation
at the same time.
At the same time. So I said, great. Now just understand, policies can change, principles never do. Principles, it's like a law of gravity. It never changes. So you're married to the mission, not the methods. The methods are the policies. So for example, we have a place in our town called Ross Dress for Less. You're likely to have, it's a national retail store, takes high-end products and gives it at a discount. And so their promise is the customer's right. We honor our customers. We believe our customers. We trust our customers. That's all their principles, right? But then they introduce a policy that says you have to, if you want to return a product from us, you got to have the price tags on it. You got to have the receipt, and it has to be within 30 days. And if you ask them, well, why do I need to have this? To prove you bought it here. The principle is you trust your customers. The customers are right. You want to value and add value to your customers, and you want to grow them and have them come back. But your policies contradict your principles. In business, I see a lot of policies. In startups, I tell them, make your policy. They're like, hey, we got to write some policies. I said, forget writing policies. If you're going to write a policy manual, make it a front and back page. Make a front and back page your policy manual. You don't need more policies because you might give ideas for them that they never thought of unless you would have had this policy for it.
Correct.
Yeah. So like, don't like, you're going to be writing policies, no doubt, but just understand, never let the policies contradict the principles, the values, and understand that your principles never change, but sometimes policies can be revoked. Sometimes they can be vetoed. Sometimes, like, imagine, Glenn, when we were pre-COVID, people were going into a brick and mortar place to work. COVID happened, and they likely had, like, you got to come into work to, work your hours. You need to clock in. We need to be here and be on time. COVID happens. Everybody's working from home. Guess what happened to that policy?
It's gone.
Gone. The principle of the staff and everything, that's never changed, but the policies do. So that's another thing I do. And the last thing is the processes.
So Tracy, you mentioned you touching bases on the policies.
Mm-hmm.
What was that first one that you mentioned?
So basically, the first one is the principles or the values.
Yeah.
So you get principles, policies, and then the processes.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I had an opportunity to start from scratch, I would make sure that we got the right foundation. That's the principles. Those are the things that never change. And then I would lean into the policies. Those are the things that help us to do business currently in the space we're in. Mm-hmm. And that'll change. It'll change. COVID changes it. Maybe the economy changes it. So things like that change. It's maybe, this was great when I was in the business. Now the policy needs to change, where it used to be, I have an open door policy. Well, but now I'm in an offsite location. I don't have an open door policy anymore. So policies can change. Principles never do. So the principles are the foundation. We can build policies, but never let the policies contradict the principles. They will know that your people and your customers will know that, and that's a joke. Now your principles are in question. And I never want somebody to question my principles. So when I can say, Glenn, if I have ever loved you, I will always love you. That's a fact. That doesn't change. Doesn't matter whether you change on me. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. I will be a friend to my friends because I don't unfriend anybody, right? Once you're my friend, we roll it. We brothers now, right? So that's just the way it is. So what if I had a policy, like, and a policy said, like, well, I don't let my friends call me after 8 p.m., whether it's an emergency or not. That policy would contradict the value of the friend, right? So, like, can't do it. So it's cross-board. Then the process. The process is how we get the same thing done every time. And if I could change this in food service, it would look something like this. If you went to for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, so you've got this restaurant, they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You go in for breakfast, and man, they're happy. There's sunshine on their faces. I mean, like, lights beaming everywhere, and you had a great experience. You sat down, they come and refreshed your coffee and had just a great dining experience. And you're like, man, that was so good. I'm going to come back at lunch. You come back at lunch and it's busy, right? They still give you they got urgency was there, accuracy was there on your order, friendliness was on their faces, but you could tell they're now busier because they're a lunch store, and most quick service restaurants are. So that you sat down and you waved to them and they waved to you, but you could tell they're busy, so there wasn't a lot of engagement. Then you come back at night. They don't look at you in the eyeball. They got your order wrong. They charged you more than what you should have paid for. You sat down on a table that was dirty, messy. You looked on the floor and it was dirty, messy, wasn't cleaned up. And you're like, man, this is horrible. You go to the bathroom to wash your hands and there's water all over the mirror, all over the sink. Even you brush your trousers up against the sink, and now it looks like you peed your pants. You're like, oh, man, I'm so frustrated about this. You go in the John, and there's not even any toilet paper. I mean, like, what has happened? Yeah. In the same day. Yeah. What's broken, what you just saw, is their process is broken. The process for the morning and the afternoon is not the same process being followed for the evening shift. And that's a leadership problem. Wow. The leader is not holding the same standard in the evening as they do in the morning. In the morning. Wow. And so I would correct that. I would say that, like, there's probably likely in the evening a process that needs to be updated, a process that's non-existent, or a process that's broken. And so those things are not being followed in the evening shift. And what I would correct is I want, no matter when I come back to that restaurant, and I bring somebody with me. Have you ever had that unfortunate experience? Like, come to this restaurant, we're gonna have a great time, and then you get there and like, somebody mistreats your guests, and you're like, oh man, I'm sorry guys, it wasn't like this when I came here before. I mean, like, it was so good last week. That's a process issue. Somebody's not trained in the process. The process is broken or non-existent for that shift. And I would correct those. So the 3 Ps, the principles or the values, the policies, and the processes, those are the 3 things that I would make sure that we're super clear on if I could start everything over by scratch.
I love that. And you know what? Like I was 12 years in that industry, Tracy. I don't know if you know this.
I didn't know that.
I have a science in culinary arts, and I also do hospitality management, because that was, it was a passion, and still a passion.
I can totally see you in hospitality management.
Yeah,
totally.
It's a passion of mine, right? So I did it for 12 years, and I can see what you're saying though, and it bothers me. Like when I go to a restaurant, the first thing I go, and any store, by the way, I go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And if I see all the stuff that you just said, I probably just walk out, and I told my wife, I was like, I don't think this is the right place.
You're right. Yeah. So judging by their bathrooms. I mean, like Sam's Club and Chick-fil-A, those are the 2 that have the cleanest bathrooms in the industry right now, as far as I'm concerned. I will not ever go in unless it's a Buc-ee's. It's called a Buc-ee's in our area. It's a huge. I mean, like, they have great bathrooms. It's like a congregation of 50 gentlemen. I mean, like, and every one of them, the doors go from the top all the way to the bottom. They say vacant. They say occupied. I mean, like, it's beautiful. I mean, like, but I do the same thing. I judge them based on their bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, because even in the flooring, the windows of the restaurant, if
smudges,
fingerprints all dirty. Yeah. It's just it all come back of that having that experience, right? Becoming unforgettable, and it's sad to see that you had an experience on Monday. You want to bring your family back on Thursday, and then Thursday comes in, and like you said, the process is broken. You bring it to the management, and it happens to me. They say, "Oh, you're just having a bad day."
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. It's me. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's too, like the philosophies are, we're going to give you amazing food, or we're going to give you an amazing experience. Food is just the medium. It's just the medium. The reason why some people will come to a place that charges, 20% more for their products and services than somebody else. Like, why would somebody pay more money? Because they give them a better experience. They make them feel like a human being. They feel respected. They feel valued. They feel wanted there. And that's what I want for, when I lead. And the 4th one, you didn't ask this, but if I was going to give a 4th one, it would be people. So you got the policy, you got the principles, policies, processes, but then people. You got to have the right people, because I mean, like, you are in the people industry. And when you're bringing in people to help, you need to make sure that they're bought in to the principles, to the policies, and they'll follow the processes. And if not, they're the wrong person. They might be a great person for some other outfit. They're just not the right person for you.
I love that, Tracy. I got to say thank you for your time, your knowledge, your expertise. As we wrapping up the podcast, I know that you heard this question before, but what does the 10X means to you?
10X to me is a philosophy, and there's a story behind this. I was in McKinney, Texas, on vacation with my family. We were in an outside kind of bar and grill type thing, and it was all picnic tables. We're under the shade. It was a beautiful scene. There was 3 gentlemen that were next to us, and I had my 10X ball cap on. I was out with my whole family and everything, and listen, we're a big crowd, so people kind of look at us, and I'm used to that. But this particular gentleman kept on looking at me, kept on looking, turning his head. And when we get up to leave, the guy gets out of his table and he comes over to me. He taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, is that your private jet at Dallas Fort Worth Airport at DFW?" I was like, "Did it have 10X on it?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I saw your hat." And I was like, "That's got to be your jet." And I said, "I said, why do you ask?" And he says, "Well, I'm I'm an airline pilot. I'm in the private sector, and I flew these two men into Dallas, and we're up here for business. And we happened to see your jet there, and I just wanted to get to meet you. I said, well, thank you so much, but no, it's not my jet. It's actually my business partner's jet.
Yeah.
And he's likely in the DFW area. Either he's flying through or he's here because he loves, it was a Friday, he loves to go out on the weekends and look at possible investments into real estate, multifamily units. We had a great conversation. But the 10X is a brand that's powerful and stronger than just any one person. So when you think about, like, some people go to the revenue. I'm a people guy. I know I need to have the money, and I want to grow my revenue base and everything just like anybody else. But it's about people. So think about, like, we are stronger, Glenn, together. So when I think of 10X, 10X has binded us. It's brought us together, right? So it's like, it's bigger than Grant. It's bigger than one person. It's bigger than you. It's 10 times. So it's a philosophy. It's a way of looking at life. There's like, whatever you think is out there, multiply it times 10.
Yeah.
Whatever you think is possible, multiply it times 10. However long you think it's going to take, multiply it times 10. However much action and effort you think it's going to require, multiply it times 10. It's just a way of viewing. It's like you and I, right? This is how we see the world.
Yeah.
It's just the lens by which we see the world. You and I are looking at abundance. 10X. That's the way I view it.
I love it, Tracy. Tracy, now that you have always have provided so much value, insights during this conversation, how can people find you? Listen, I want to get in contact with Tracy. I want him to come check out my business. Like, how can they find you, whether it's online, emails? Go ahead and share that, please.
I love that. Okay, so, 180turnarounds.com is our website. TMC Coaching is another website we have. But you can find me on all the social media. If you just, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't have TikTok on my phone, but I have TikTok. My social media, my executive assistant, he takes care of that all for me. But you can find me on TikTok. You can connect with me on all the major platforms. LinkedIn is one that I'm especially fond of. I love, this is where we connect with business people, like-minded people. And so I've got a presence in all of those platforms. Email tracy@tmccoaching.org. The .org is where you want to remember. So tracy@tmccoaching.org is how you can email me to connect with me. I'd love to connect with anybody obviously anybody that's following Growth Talk is going to be my kind of people because they're following my friend Glenn Torres.
Thank you, brother. Tracy, I really, again, thank you for your time, your knowledge, your experience, the insights, the process, the strategies that you share with us today. As you know, we always over-delivering to our audience, our clients, always educating them in becoming the best version of themselves. Would it be okay with you if we close with a quote?
Let's do it.
From page 9.
Which page are you going to?
from page 9 to 85, you pick a number.
Page 9 to 85. Okay. Okay. 57.
57.
57. Let's go.
Oh, wow. This is so true. The person who suggests your goals are unrealistic has given up on his goals.
GC, baby.
We come across that so many times. Which almost means like other people's opinion, it doesn't have to be your reality.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Ooh. Ooh, I love that, Tracy. Thank you again. Always.
Glenn, thank you.
Health, wealth, and let's go out there and help more people become the best version of themselves. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Let's go.